Hey guys, so glad to have you here. Today I'm going to show you how to make these Easter candy holders. And just like my other candy holders, you're going to have two different versions for each design. And one is going to be with the perforated back and the other with the closing mechanism. And there are links to the supplies that I'm using in this video in the video description. So if you want to make sure that you get the right size ornaments, you can find the link to them there. And you're also going to be able to find the link to download these free candy holder SVG files in the video description as well. Or you can go to my blog at svgnation.com. So go ahead and download those and we'll get started. And once you have those uploaded in Cricut Design Space, go ahead and add them to your canvas. And I'm zoomed out a bit right now, so that's why mine looks a lot smaller than yours. So if yours look bigger, it's just because you're probably at 100%. I'm going to put this at about 75%, so it all fits in the screen. And the first thing, well, these are actually ready to go. There's no editing that you need to do to these, but if you need to modify any colors or any of the sizes, which I'll show you how to do, you do need to go ahead and ungroup these layers first. So you'll notice that the white of the bunny is different than the white of the eggshell on the chick, and I did that just in case like you wanted to make your bunnies different colors. That way you could go ahead and put it on a different mat that way. But I want to make them the same color, so I'm going to go over to my color sync right here to match those colors. So I'm just closing all of these so I can see all my colors on the screen together. And I'm just going to drag the bunny white to go up there with the chick white. And that way they're the same color and they're going to cut on the same mats now. Okay, but that's the only change that I want to make for the colors. But if you want to make any other changes, you can either drag like that if you want to make sure that it matches, or just click on the layer that you want to change. So, you know, if you want to not have the beak cut in the orange, or I don't know, but if you want to make changes, you can. And so now if you have a different size ornament that I'm using here, and I'm using like the 3.14 inches, it's like 3 and almost a quarter, then it's fine. You just need to resize your design. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing you want to do is measure the opening of your ornament. And if it has like the little tab piece on it, then do not measure that. You just want to measure that opening. And once you've got that measured, go ahead and go to your shapes and create a circle. And then if you have like the 2.5 inch ornaments, if it measured 2.5 inches, you're just going to type 2.5 inches right there. And make sure that that's locked. That way your circle automatically adjusts both the height and width. And so now we're just going to use this as a base right here. And you're just going to click on your character. And these are already grouped. So you just need to click on that. It's automatically going to change it all. And you're just going to resize it. And you really want this to be a perfect fit. You want to make sure that the circle touches right around the circle opening here. And so once you do that, you've got that resize. You can just get rid of this circle now. But I do want to use this to show you how to resize the ones with the closing mechanism as well. So you're going to do the same thing, only you need to make sure that you also click on the closing mechanism when you resize it. So just hold down shift to click on both the bunny and the closing mechanism, or if you're doing the chick and the closing mechanism. That way you can resize those together so that everything stays proportionate. And you want to drag that until you have no gaps at all, so it completely fits within there. And then just get rid of that circle. It's done and it's ready to go. Okay, so before we cut these, I am actually gonna, I don't need these resized, so I'm just going out and adding them back. And I'm just changing my color sync one more time here. So I want to make sure that these are the right size that I need. And we're ready to go ahead and cut these now. So we're just going to click on Make It. And we're using our standard mat for this. And if you have any paper that is not 12 by 12, then make sure you go ahead and change that here. So the white that I'm using is actually letter size, which I wish that I had the 12 by 12 because it would only cut 3 mats. And now I've got to cut about twice as many just for the white, but that's okay. That's just the white that I have. And the rest of them are on 12 by 12, but if you need to change any of your mats, go ahead and do that. And we're going to go ahead and cut these. And if you don't want to use some of the designs that are on there, all you got to do is click on them and delete. And you can duplicate. Here, I'll show you real quick. Like if you only want to make the chick, then go ahead and click on this. You do need to ungroup before you can make any changes. And just delete them. Just if you don't want this bunny, and if with those closing mechanisms, just delete them. And if you want to just make a bunch of these chicks, all you have to do is go right here and duplicate so they all cut together. Just because they're all in the file doesn't mean that you have to use them all. So you can even get rid of these closing mechanisms and just do a bunch of these perforated chicks if you want. But let's go ahead and cut these out, and I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me cut them. So as soon as you get these cut out, come back and I'll show you how to assemble them. For the eggshells for the bunny, I decided while I was cutting all of these that I actually wanted to do them different colors so that each bunny was a different color with the eggshell, but I already had them on the same mat from them being the same color. So I just wanted to stop and show you guys a quick little hack on how you can cut multiple colors on the same mat. So all you need to do is click on Edit on your mat in Cricut Design Space, and then you're just going to reposition your items so that they have some space between them. And then you're going to cut your paper so that it fits those dimensions needed for each design, and you're going to place it on your cutting mat just as you see it in Cricut Design Space. And then your Cricut is going to cut each one of these designs out with the paper that you have in that place. So this is a really neat hack for when you want to cut multiple colors on the same mat, or if you have scraps that you want to use, because maybe you have enough scraps of a color to cut everything out, but you don't have a full sheet. So then you're just going to position the pieces on your mat as you do on your cutting mat, and you'll be able to use all those scrap pieces of paper. So I just feel like this is a little trick that really saves a lot of paper, and it's good to know. But just keep in mind that you do want the same type of paper, since glitter cardstock needs a deeper cut than regular cardstock, so you don't want to mix different papers together. And if you do, then you need to go with the thicker paper with your cutting preferences on your machine. And if you are new to cutting cardstock, a easy trick for getting your paper off the mat is to roll the mat off of your paper. And so your cut pieces are just going to come right off this way, and it's really easy, and you don't have to worry about any ripping or curling this way. So this is how you always want to remove your mat when you're using any kind of cardstock or paper. And once you have everything cut out, make sure that you line everything up first before gluing. The designs are not perfectly symmetrical, so you do want to make sure that everything lines up perfectly, and if not, flip it around. That way everything gets glued correctly. And you'll want to do this for the bunny feet as well. And then you can go ahead and glue the white foot on top of the pink foot layer. And go ahead and glue all of the feet for however many you're making right now. And then once those are all glued, you can put those aside. And then you're going to begin to assemble the bunny. We're going to go ahead and do the bunny first. And you're just going to take that bottom piece, and for this layer it is that pink piece, and you're just going to take that piece and put it aside. And then you're going to glue your white layer on top of your black layer. And then you're going to glue those two small little white teeth right in place. And this is where your tweezers are really going to come in handy. And then you're just going to flip that over and apply your foam dots to the back. And you can also use foam tape and just cut it out, like cut it into pieces if you already have that and you don't have the dots. I do prefer the dots because I just think it's a lot easier. And you're just going to place these randomly. Just make sure that you get around the circle, the cutout part, pretty good, and also around all the edges. And then go ahead and remove the backing from them all. And we are making the perforated version first. So with this one, before you attach the ornament, you do need to fill it with candy first. And then you're going to place it on the bottom layer that you put aside earlier. And it does help to place the layer over the opening and then flip them so that the candy stays in place. And then you're just going to kind of slide the ornament so it's around the place that it needs to go. But it doesn't have to be perfect because we can adjust this as we add the top layer. So to add the top layer, you're just going to line everything up and then press down. And it is going to be a tight fit around the ornament. It's almost going to feel like it's too small of a cutout, but that's exactly how it's supposed to be. So that means it's correct, because you want that to be nice and tight so that it really holds that ornament in place so it doesn't wiggle at all. And so you're just going to gently push down until all the foam dots are attached. And you don't need to press down too much because it's that gap that helps secure the ornament in place. So you just want to press it down so that the foam dots do adhere to the other side, but you don't need to squish them. And so then you can just go ahead and glue down the eggshell, and you can actually glue this down before placing it on the ornament. I just forgot to, but for the next one, I'm going to glue this egg piece down first. So whichever way you prefer. And then you're going to go ahead and add the hands and feet for the bunny. And you can glue these down, but I prefer to use the foam dots because this is going to give it that 3D look, and I think that's just really cute for paper crafts. And so if you've ever wondered like how to get that 3D layered look, it is from using foam dots or foam tape. So that's how you're going to achieve that look if you've ever wanted to do that before. But once those are in place, your candy holder is ready to go. For the perforated ones, I like to pull the tab out because it can be hard to get started. Like it naturally wants to fold in when you grab it. So I use my tweezers to help pull it out. That way it's really easy to open and the person I give this to isn't going to have any issues with that. And now moving on for the one with the closing mechanism. And so with the bunny, you're just going to assemble the first part the same way. Go ahead and glue that white layer on top of the black, and then you're going to glue those teeth down and glue your eggshell down, and then add your foam dots and go ahead and secure your ornament in place. So with the closing mechanism one, you don't need to put the candy in first since you're going to be able to add that when you're done. So once you have the ornament in place, you can go ahead and assemble the closing mechanism. So go ahead and flip your candy holder over, and then you're just going to line the piece with the arrow up with the back, and you want the arrow pointing downward, and you want like the hole to be covered. And then you're going to place that piece with the tabs on top, and you're just going to place it so that the area without the tab pieces is to the right of the arrow. So this way you can pull the lever down. And so if the tab pieces are there, they're going to be in the way and you won't be able to pull it down. So just think you want that empty spot there so you can easily pull it down. And then you're just going to add that last circle piece to the back. And using just a little bit of glue, you're going to glue these tab pieces to attach to that circle that's on the other side. And you don't want to use too much because you don't want the glue to seep through. And you really don't need to pull the tab pieces too tight. You want to keep them kind of loose because you want that middle layer loose so that it can move around. That middle layer is your lever, so you do want that to kind of freely move around. You don't want to make the tabs too loose because you don't want it to be too loose. So it's just kind of learning the right amount that you want it, I guess. So if you do mess it up, you can cut just those 3 pieces out and try again. But it's pretty easy. Just gently pull them and you'll be fine. And then once it's all assembled, you're just going to glue the closing mechanism on the back. And when you glue it down, just make sure that you have the hole covered and that the lever is in the correct place so that it can pull down to reveal the opening in the back. And when it's all dry, you can then go ahead and add your candy and close it back up. And you're going to follow these same steps for assembling the chick candy holder. And I'm just going to quickly show you how to layer them and show you where I like to use the foam dots. You're going to start first by gluing that yellow layer on top of the black layer. And then you're going to glue your eggshell layers on top of your yellow layer. And for the top eggshell, I like to use the foam dots here to make this 3D, but you can glue this down whichever you prefer. But I always like the little 3D look with paper crafts. And then you're just going to glue that beak in place. And then you're just going to assemble them with the foam dots and the ornament just as we did with the bunny ones, just following the same steps for the perforated one and following the same steps for the one with the closing mechanism. But if you are using candy without wrappers in the ornaments, which is perfectly fine, just remember to wash the ornaments first. You don't know where they've been, so always wash those first. And these actually stay together really well. There's no need to glue the ornament down because it definitely is not going anywhere. If it makes you feel better, you can glue it down. But just make sure that when you press that top layer that you just don't squish it down because it's that open space there where the foam strips are that really helps to keep the ornament in place. So just press down enough to where they adhere. And that's really all there is to it. If you guys have any questions, then go ahead and ask those in the comments and I will answer them there. And if you guys make these, don't forget to tag me in your posts on social media. That way I can share them in my stories. Plus, I love to see what you guys are up to. And if you have a minute, make sure to like this video and leave a comment. This helps me to grow so that I can continue to put out free content for you guys. And thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.